This is Qtv News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The Central Bank of the Gambia, with support from the UNCDF and partners, on Wednesday launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy to provide a roadmap for expanding financial inclusion in the Gambia. The Gambia Donkey and Horse Trust and partners on Saturday held a presentation and discussion on the Gambia's animal welfare laws and proposed updates to those laws. Following the construction of some strategic roads within Brikama by the Brikama Area Council, some members of the business community have spoken about how these new developments will affect their lives. In business news, we take a look at how platforms such as TikTok, Instagram and YouTube have launched the careers of many in the Gambia, proving to be a sustainable profession. And in sports news, at least 8 people died, with at least 38 more injured in a stampede outside Olympus Stadium, hosting an African Cup of Nations football match in Cameroon. And despite the excitement of the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, the coronavirus pandemic has caused huge disruption to teams and their players. Well, for more on these and other stories coming up, I am Ansmane Sonyasi. And we now take a look at the news in detail. The Central Bank of the Gambia, with support from the UNCDF and partners, on Wednesday launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy to provide a roadmap for expanding financial inclusion in the Gambia. Omar Pijalo attended the event, and this is his report.
Dr. Sehu Jabi, the first Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, in his opening remarks, said financial inclusion can contribute to sustainable economic welfare and reducing poverty. It also supports economy, monetary and financial stability by making savings and investment decisions more efficient, enhancing the transmission of monetary policy, and facilitating the functioning of the economy.
That access to finance, financial inclusion, financial development have long been major policy objectives of many countries, particularly in the developing world, and also development partners across the globe. Over the last century, a series of initiatives have aimed at increasing access to finance and financial inclusion. But this has accelerated in the last decade as technical developments combined with strategic policy support, so potential for progress beyond anything that has been ever achieved and imaginable.
Nyanya Dabo, the United Nations Capital Development Fund, Country Relationship Manager, said achieving greater financial inclusion requires a deliberate and coordinated approach to identify relevant obstacles and opportunities, leverage linkages across financial and non-financial policy areas, and align the efforts by multiple stakeholders.
Having easy access to a broad range of formal financial services that meets the individuals and businesses needs at an affordable cost. Bringing people in to the world of affordable financial products and services, we are freeing them from limitations. We are opening doors to opportunity. And what could be more exciting than that?
Lumana Kumasi, the UN Delegation Development Cooperation International Aid Manager, believes financially included population is key to reducing income inequality and poverty, as well as boosting productivity and growth that could accelerate the realization of the Gambia's aspirations to soon become a middle-income country.
Financial inclusion means that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs. Transactions, payments, savings, credit, and insurance must be delivered in a responsible and sustainable way.
In her launching statement, the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Touré said the objective of enhancing financial inclusion is to improve the welfare of the Gambian citizens and to contribute to the country's socio-economic development. VP Touré assures government's commitment to boosting financial inclusion in line with the National Development Plan.
Access to finance can open countless economic opportunities. Moreover, several studies have shown a strong correlation between a country's state of financial inclusion and its poverty level. Therefore, this launching of our NFIS is a step in the right direction in addressing our developmental challenges and thereby improving the lives and livelihoods of all Gambians.
Financial inclusion is a critical enabler to reducing poverty and boosting shared prosperity. According to UNCDF's Survey 2019 report, 69% of the adults in the Gambia, especially women, are financially excluded due to limited access to formal financial services. Therefore, officials believe the launching of this new strategic document will improve access and usage of quality financial services, consequently ensuring inclusive growth and poverty reduction among women and youth. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Amar P. Jallo.
The Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust and partners like the Department of Livestock Services and the Animal Welfare Advocates on Saturday held a presentation and discussion on the Gambia's laws relating to animal welfare and the proposed updates to those laws. Here's Amar P. Jallo again.
The event at the Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust Veterinary Clinic in Makasutu brought together officials from concerned institutions and the Ministry of Justice to discuss the existing 1938 Animal Welfare Law and the updating of those laws in the proposed bill before the National Assembly for consideration and adoption. In her welcoming remarks, Heather Armstrong, the director of Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust, revealed that the trust provides veterinary care to working animals in the Gambia, has a long-lasting impact through the education of animal owners and training of local technicians, without which the injuries and illnesses of animals would go untreated and lead to further complications or even the death of animals.
All the animals out here, it's because the animal welfare word has spread, and people now are noticing if an animal is suffering and knowing that they can bring them to us.
Binta Masana Samura, a state counsel at the Attorney General's Chambers, believes minimal compensations and fines tied to cruelty to animals is hindering the welfare of animals and call for the implementation of the existing animal welfare laws and increasing the fines to discourage people from being cruel to animals.
Wherein you have a law that is up to a decade, there is need for it to be changed. There is need for it to either be amended or there is a need for it to be repealed. It is just ideal that after every 10 years, laws that have been passed should be revisited, either for amendments or possible repeals.
Dr. Usman Sise, the Deputy Director General of Veterinary Services at the Department of Livestock Services, revealed that his department, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has drafted an updated proposed animal welfare legislation bill that will address the issue of animal welfare, especially cruelty to animals and animal-related diseases.
So we have filtered things down to the realities of the current situation of the Gambia, including the capacities of the Department of Livestock Services and its sister institution and all other non-governmental partners that are involved in the administration of veterinary.
Dr. Keba Dafe, an advisor to the Animal Welfare Advocates, said since the introduction of animal welfare in the curriculums of the Gambia College and the university, the welfare of animals has improved significantly, adding that animal welfare was neglected in the Gambia.
We have seen the laws, 1934, 1967. These are laws that have been there, but they have never been touched. I myself have served as Director of Veterinary Services of the Gambia. During my time, animal welfare has not been the vocabulary in the veterinary services.
The president of Animal Welfare Advocates Association, Modu Dumbuya, said his association has trained over 1,000 volunteers across the country and are committed to raising public awareness on animal welfare laws. The animal welfare laws include freedom from hunger, malnutrition and thirst, fear and distress, physical and mental discomfort, pain, injury, disease, and to express normal patterns of behavior. Over the years, the Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust has built a veterinary clinic in Makasutu and modified a van into an ambulance capable of carrying horses and donkeys with more severe injuries to the clinic for treatment. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Amar P. Jallo.
Now, following the construction of some strategic roads within Brikama by the Brikama Area Council, some members of the business community have spoken about how these new developments will affect their lives. Abibatu Sise tells us more.
Brikama, in the West Coast region, is one of the largest settlements in the Gambia. It has banks, a hospital, the governor's office, the Gambia College, the fire service, petrol stations, and one of the busiest markets in the country. Some of the roads leading to these important public amenities and institutions have become dilapidated over time, making access a challenge for both drivers and pedestrians. This warranted the council to reconstruct the roads. Lamin Bajo, Regional Forestry Officer for the West Coast region, says the road was in a deplorable state, making it difficult for market vendors, drivers, and other road users, especially in the rainy season.
People, donkey carts and even wheelbarrow owners, they are always fighting here because everybody wants to pass a small gap that is better. But right now, as you can see, no one is fighting. Everybody is moving freely, up and down. So this is definitely a good thing. And we can see now if we have things to be delivered to us, it is easy for the deliverer to come in straight and deliver it.
Bamba Sora and Suti Samate, businessmen at the market, explains the importance of the roads.
This road leads to the hospital, the police station, and Nana Junction, and many people use it. The area council has done a great job. We really suffered during the rainy season. All the tailoring shops on this road got flooded because the roads were too bad. We thank God now.
Karamba Suso is another businessman. The construction of the roads, he says, is a good initiative and urges the council to construct more gutters for easy passage of rainwater.
We are still affected by the water, but not like in the past. However, we still want the council to continue their good work.
Our Sisin Jagan and Arabia Tumaro are also businesswomen who share their thoughts. The road was full of holes, which becomes inundated with water when it rains. So, we thank God that the road is constructed, but we want all other roads to be constructed like this one. This whole place used to be full of water, which reaches knee level. This affects our businesses. Now that this road is constructed, it will be beneficial to the business people. For the Manjang and Cham, the PRO of the Brikama Market Committee, thank the council for the new roads. The council collects taxes for the West Coast region, which is plowed back to communities in development projects. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
The report there by Abibatu Sise will lead us to a short commercial break, but we will be right back.
danga jot sa xaalis si nu gën a gaawee te yomba léegi ak Ria mun ngaa jot sa xaalis bàyyeekoo sa bitim réew si sa Q-Money te doo si fay dara boo jotee ab xibaar si sa téléphone bi ne jot nga koppar bu bàyyeekoo sa bitim réew mun ngaa daal seet Q-Money agent bu la gën a jege jot sa xaalis te doo si fay dara bu la neexee mun nga koo jëndee crédit Q-Power wala jëfandikoo ak yeneen Q-Money service gaaw na wóor na te noppale na pour am si lu la wóor boo ñu si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sat.
Welcome back from a short commercial break. We reminded you following QTV Midday News, and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. And I am Ansmane Sonyasi. We'll now take a look at business news. Now, social media has changed the lives of many young adults in terms of employment prospects and income generation. Platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube have launched the careers of many, proving to be a sustainable profession. However, how reliable is this as a career path for young Gambians, and what does the evolution of social media look like for the Gambia? Here's Annabelle Gay with the story.
There are many success stories from social media content creators who are based here in the Gambia, including Ricky Denise. She runs her own popular YouTube channel of the same name and is a Gambian resident who moved here from America in 2015 with her family. Her parents had vacationed here for 2 weeks prior to the move and enjoyed it so much that they had decided to relocate. Ricky's desires to share her experience in a new country drove her to create her YouTube channel that now has almost 50,000 subscribers, one of the first YouTube channels to do so in the Gambia.
Prior to coming here, I always would look for people who are like me, a teenager living in a place in Africa, and I never saw that, so that's what really inspired me to make the YouTube channel. I'm living in a country in Africa, and it's not what you see on TV. It's much more to that. That is what is pushing me to keep doing my channel, to show people that Africa is so much more than what you just see on TV.
Ricky's success has allowed her to earn a decent living whilst also giving her the flexibility to explore other career ventures in Gambia's employment sector. She encourages Gambians to take the leap and launch their own social media careers, stating that it has provided her with many opportunities which she believes would not have been made available to her otherwise. Her channel mainly hosts content about life in the Gambia, where she often promotes Gambian businesses and real estate, as well as activities for all ages.
Any small business that I see or any Gambian I will see that has underrated talent, and they don't have like a voice or platform to kind of share that, I love to always, any chance that I get, I'll put it on my YouTube channel and try to get their business flowing and get them to have customers, because there's a lot of people moving here who may not know about that, and they may be looking for that type of business. There is just so much power in social media. Like, some people underestimate how much money you can really make from doing like social media, influencing, YouTube videos. It all starts here with the mindset that we can do better. We have the resources. It's not like we don't have the resources to make Gambia a better place.
Other success stories include popular YouTube personality Labin Toure, also known as Maxim Badi, and TikTok star Tita Joe. On YouTube, Labin has over 2 million subscribers, with some videos reaching up to 11 million views. Tita Job is Gambia's newest online sensation, with over 5 million likes on TikTok and over 150,000 followers. The two post comedy-related videos, and Tita was recently featured in an Irish Times article that discussed Gambia's flourishing comedy scene. The Gambia's youth unemployment rate is set at 12.44% according to econometric models. Statistics show Gambia has about 3 smartphones per head of population, and many of those phones belong to young people who spend a lot of time on social media. Given the success of some of those mentioned, who are just a few who have taken this path, it's worth asking whether social media can be a viable way of earning a living for many young Gambians, lessening the youth unemployment rates. This might not be too far-fetched, given there were 430,000 social media users in the Gambia in January 2021, equivalent to 17.5% of the total population, and the number of social media users in the Gambia increased by 60,000 between 2020 and 2021. Reporting for QTV News, I'm Annabelle Gege.
And now on to some sports and sports-related news. At least 8 people died, with at least 38 more injured in a stampede outside Olympia Stadium in Yaoundé, Cameroon, hosting an African Cup of Nations football match on Monday as host Cameroon and Comoros played. Ajibintu Drame reports.
Reports say the cross took place at the southern entrance of the Olympia Stadium as like crowds we are trying to get in to see the last 16 match between host Cameroon and announced Comoros. The Cameroonian government and the CAF president issued statements of condolence after the sad event. In a government statement, Cameroon's President Paul Biya extended his deepest commiseration to the affected families and his best wishes for a speedy recovery to those injured. On Tuesday, the President of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Patrice Motsepe, spoke to the press in Yaoundé, where he asked people to observe a moment of silent prayers for the 8 people who lost their lives. In code, I am extremely sad, disappointed and hurt about what happened yesterday, and everything will be done to make sure it doesn't happen again, Motsepe said. Since then, it has been agreed that a minute silence will be observed before the start of each game for the rest of the tournament. A detailed report from the local committee about the incident is expected, with the CAF president hoping to receive it by Friday. Asking why a gate that was supposed to be opened was closed. In quote, why were those measures not functioning as they were supposed to? Unquote. The next game scheduled for the Olympia Stadium has now been moved to Ahmadu Ahidjo Stadium. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, Motsepe met the AFCON Organizing Committee and implored them to work together and ensure spectators' safety. Cameroon is hosting the competition for the first time in 50 years. The country was stripped of AFCON hosting duties in 2019 over infrastructure concerns and other state insecurities due to the conflict in the Anglophone part of the country. Messages of condolence have poured from across the world, and the CAF president on Tuesday visited the injured in Yaoundé hospitals. Dr. Motsepe has also indicated that CAF will reach out to all the families of the 8 supporters who lost their lives in the next few days. Ajipintu Drame, Qtv News.
And even though the Africa Cup of Nations is underway in Cameroon, and despite the excitement of the tournament, the coronavirus pandemic has caused huge disruption to teams and their players. William Kamara takes a closer look at how events are unfolding as teams progress.
The tournament, which was scheduled to be played last year, was postponed twice due to the pandemic. Having finally kicked out this year, teams such as Tunisia, Comoros, Senegal, Cape Verde and Burkina Faso have suffered major setbacks from the coronavirus disease. In one of the severest examples of the impact, this hit the Comoros before their biggest game in the country's history on Monday against host Cameroon. After all 3 goalkeepers tested positive for COVID, the team had to have an infield player in goal. Reports have emerged that at least 8 people died and a dozen more were injured in a stampede outside the stadium of Cameroon as people forced their way into to watch the game, which had reduced capacity due to COVID restrictions. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has set tough rules, which include regular COVID-19 tests for players and officials at least 48 hours before their matches. Also, any player who tests positive for the virus must isolate for 5 days before taking another PCR test 48 hours before the next match, in a bid to contain the further spread of the virus. Teams have been grappling with issues. Comoros had been the most affected so far, making matters worse. Coaches are not allowed to replace their 28-man squad, registered already. QTV Sports reporter Mamadou Gajaga highlights what this means for the affected teams.
So it really has a huge impact, because if you lose your best players, it appears that you're going to find it difficult to sustain the game when you're playing against a side like Cameroon with very experienced players, when you play against a team like Algeria, the same thing. So it's going to be very, very difficult. So it has really affected teams. Even Gambia, prior to the African Cup of Nations, our preparation was hampered. The team went to Qatar for their training camp. They had COVID issues there for at least a week. They've not been training. They've not even had that togetherness prior to going to Cameroon. So even Senegal, their best goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy, who is voted as the FIFA men's best goalkeeper of the year, was really affected. He could not play in Senegal's first 2 games. So COVID has really been an issue in this African Cup of Nations.
There is no doubt that the coronavirus is one of the biggest setbacks for the AFCON 2021, and players are forced to go into isolation if they test positive, thereby affecting the performance of the team, as seen in the Comoros team in their game against Cameroon. It is likely there will be more such stories before the tournament concludes. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Well, I hope there are no such stories on Saturday as we play Cameroon. I'm afraid that's it for this bulletin. But before we go, here is a recap from your headlines. The Central Bank of the Gambia, with support from the World Bank and partners, on Wednesday launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy to provide a roadmap for expanding financial inclusion in the Gambia. The Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust and partners on Saturday held a presentation and discussion on the Gambia's laws relating to animal welfare and the proposed updates to those laws. Following the construction of some strategic roads within Brikama by the Brikama Area Council, some members of the business community have spoken about how these new developments will affect their lives. In business news, we look at how platforms such as TikTok, Instagram and YouTube have launched the careers of many in the Gambia, proving to be a sustainable profession. And in sports news, at least 8 people died with at least 38 more injured in a stampede outside Olympia Stadium in Yaoundé, Cameroon, which was hosting an African Cup of Nations match. And despite the excitement of the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, the coronavirus pandemic has caused huge disruption to teams and players. Well, that's all we have for you in this bulletin. Do join us in the evening for more news. Until then, thanks for watching.